Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas. Welcome to your Practice Power Podcast. Hey, hope you're having a great Friday. I know it's Friday the 13th, and if you're one of those superstitious people, maybe you didn't get out of bed this morning, and you're not going to do any follow-ups or anything like that. Hey, we just do what we do, and we rock and roll, right? Hope you had a great week. Beautiful day here in Central Florida. And I thought about what I wanted to talk to you all about in this episode. And what I decided to do, which I haven't done in a while, is let's talk referrals and introductions, right? Let's talk about those things. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, if there's any business development skill, marketing skill, call it whatever you like, that every advisor, I don't care if you're 2 months in the business or 30 years in the business, you need to master this. Because if you don't, it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars each and every year, quite frankly, and then put that over a course of a career. Hey, it's millions of dollars. For a lot of you, it radically would change the course of your destiny, the course of your business, the course of your personal financials. So what I want to do is lay out why advisors don't do it, and it's not just because you don't know how to say things or what the letter looks like or any of that jazz. We'll really get to the root cause in a minute. But also, I also want to give you some strategies. I also want to lay out a challenge for you and all these things. But before we get into all that great stuff, let me ask you a very, very important question. What is the best way for you to grow your business? I want you to think about that for a second. What is the best way for you to gain new clients, new households, however you want to phrase it to yourself? What's the best way? What's the most efficient way, the most effective way, right? And when I was at a recent conference, I asked this question as part of my presentation. I made the statement: referrals from happy, satisfied clients is one of the, if not the best, ways for you to acquire new clients, new households. Does anybody not agree with that? And if you agree, raise your hands, right? And we had 100% of the room raise their hands, right? And these are all very smart people, by the way. So guess what? Intellectually, we're all on the same page, right? We're all on board. We all can go get it. But so now my next question. Great. If you all agree, answer me this. How much time, money, energy, effort, focus do you put towards maximizing the most effective business building strategy you have? And that is always the disconnect, right? Always the disconnect. So being the coach that I am for 25 years now, I ask this very, very important question. Why? Why do very smart people who intellectually get it not do it? Or they do it extremely inconsistently. And what it boils down to is it's got nothing to do with strategy. It's got nothing to do with the mechanics of it. It has nothing to do with any of that. What it really boils down to is you have a set of limiting beliefs and a set of fears around your business, around your success, around your relationships with your clients. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it kind of goes like this, and I want you to kind of picture this. And again, if you're watching my YouTube channel, you'll actually get to watch me do this. If you're listening to my podcast, just kind of visualize this, if you will. You got your negative self on your shoulder, right? And it's kind of right here, and it's chirping in your ear, you're really just lucky you're not that good. You're lucky you have clients. You're not that organized. And if they really knew who you really were, they would leave. So you just better keep the facade going and not push it too much, right? Or you don't believe you deserve to be successful, or you make enough money, you don't want to make more. You remember mommy and daddy told you didn't want to make a lot of money because that would make you a bad person, and you get all this garbage going in your head, right? That you don't deserve success, you don't deserve the business, and you buy it, right? That's one of the reasons. The other reason why, which is a little bit different, but I want to share it with you also, is if you make referral gathering and new clients about your success. So it sounds like this. Hey, I need to grow my business. I need to grow my success. Mr. and Mrs. Client, please help me out and provide me some names. That's kind of what your brain says, right? Most of us don't want to view ourselves as selfish, okay? So if referral gathering is it feels selfish, it's all about you, most of us, are going to disconnect from that. So you can't make it about you and your business growth or things like that because, again, that will mess up your psychology also. So those are some limiting beliefs. How about fears? Well, fear of failure. How about if I get told, no, I'm not going to give you a referral, right? Which I can't remember the last time somebody ever gave me that kind of feedback, quite frankly. Or I don't want to put the client out there and make them uncomfortable and have to reject me. Well, then if that's what's happening, then you're not using the right strategies, right? So the real reason why advisors don't drive as many referrals and introductions as they absolutely need, then some. It's got nothing to do with strategy. I'm going to help you change here in this podcast if you want to change, right? It's all about psychology. It's all about your limiting beliefs. It's all about your fears. It's all about your head trash. So how do we fix that? You've heard me, for those of you who've been around, how do we fix that? Morning ritual, mental diet, getting around it, right? And if that doesn't help you, let me give you the gift of some leverage. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and if you want to do it in your head, that's cool. If you want to do it on paper, that'd even be better. All right. So if you're driving in the car, you may want to pull over, right? And we don't want to get anybody hurt in traffic or anything like that. But let me ask you a couple questions. I want you to figure out, and by the way, I'm going to be very conservative here. I want you to take how many years you've been in this business, and then I want you to times it by 12. So I'm going to work on the premise that we could have generated one new client per month if we had this figured out, the referral introduction piece. So again, how many years times 12? There's a number. And then what I want you to do, I want you to kind of guesstimate the average, not the top, but the average household revenue per year. Okay? And I'm going to look, and I know some of you math guys and gals are going to sit there and go, yeah, Joe, but you got to take the variations because this is over a period of years, and we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. Okay? So how long you been, times 12 households a year, right? Times how many average revenue. You can say 2,500, you can say 3,000, you can say 1,000, you can say 5,000, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And you have a number. Now, we can kind of extrapolate backwards. That's water under the bridge. I want you to look at the number, and I want you to go forward. That's what you're going to leave on the table every year going forward at a minimum by not getting your arms around this. And this is what you have left on the table at a minimum. Forget about time value here over your career. And I'm going to help you fix it right now by a shift in your psychology. And I'll give you the mechanics. But it's not the mechanics or that's the easy part. It's the mindset that matters, right? Mindset, mechanics equals action. Let's talk mindset. So I gave you all the fears, right? I gave you every reason why people don't do it. Now, let's talk about how we try to fix this. And when I say we, I don't mean me. I'm gonna really fix it for you. But how maybe you tried to fix it in the past. All right. Number one, you may have searched high and low for the urban myth, the urban legend of our industry, which is the referral letter that if you were to send out to all your clients, you would be flooded with names, right? It does not exist. I've searched for it. I've never got my hands on it. If I got my hands on it, trust me, I would have sold it to you all by now for lots of money, and everybody would be good, right? So it doesn't really exist, right? So I think you can write some letters here and there, but there's no game changer, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Right, so that doesn't exist. Number two, you don't need a multi-$1,000 weekend program and hire another consultant. And some of my colleagues are out there kind of doing this thing, and they make it a lot more difficult than it really is. And this has always been my thing. And I always, whenever I go train at firms and stuff like that, I say, look, I'm going to help you do referrals and introductions now. It's going to take me less than 30 minutes. Because what I say really doesn't matter. It's what you do. It's what counts. And I'll save you several $1,000s in a weekend somewhere, right? Because you don't need to do that. So that doesn't work. And it's not about what you say or I need the right words or I need strategies. Look, if you can open your mouth and write and do these two things, I'll give you a strategy in literally 3 to 5 minutes, which we'll do in a little bit. Nothing to do with any of that. got all to do with whether you believe you deserve it, whether this is about you or helping others, and whether you're willing to get uncomfortable and change some of your habits and change some of your behaviors and change your internal dialogue. That's what it's about. And so what you need to do is sit there and say, okay, am I ready for this? Am I ready to get uncomfortable? And remember this, your bank account is directly proportional / related to the willingness to become uncomfortable and grow and evolve as a person and then as a professional. These two things. That's what matters. All right, so with that being said, let's also talk about what else gets in the way. Some dumb rules that some of you have. Like, for example, well, Joe, I'm going to ask this person for some recommendations, some introductions, but they're a brand new client, and I want to prove myself for several quarters. And I sit there and say, that's the dumbest thing, and I say this is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So what you're really saying to me / yourself is that you're not sure the client believes that you're going to deliver what you promised to deliver. So in other words, they gave you all their money, you're doing a financial plan for them, and let's just hope it works, right? Come on. I mean, that's just yourself again telling you, hey, don't get uncomfortable here. Don't put yourself on the line. Oh, here's the justification. You know what? Let's make sure that they're really digging us and really liking us and really making sure it's happening, right? And then we'll go back and do it. And let me ask you, you've been in this business for any period of time, you've told yourself that story for decades, and yet you still have never gone back, right? So guess what? That's a bunch of BS. That's your excuse. Doesn't really hold water, all right? So these are all the reasons. Now, strategies. Very, very simple. Touch base calls, reviews, notes, which I'll talk about in a little bit, client events. 4 strategies, okay? Strategy number 1, touch base calls, which I'm all about. You call them, they call you leave a voicemail, whatever. Bob, thanks for taking my call today. I appreciate our relationship. Glad we're able to, connect. By the way, if you ever run across somebody that we can help, we'd love to have that opportunity. Keep us in mind. Thanks. Done. That was 12 seconds, based on my little timer here on my video, right? 12 seconds. You're done with the review. Everything's cool, no issues, right? Again, if you've got major issues, you're not going to do this, obviously. But the review goes well, everybody's on the same page, appreciative of the relationship. Either at the end of the review, hey, Bob, thanks for coming in today. I'm really excited about what we're doing here. By the way, in your travels, if you ever run across somebody that you think we can help, we'd love to have that opportunity. Keep us in mind, right? You're walking them out the office, right? After that, arm around, shaking hands, giving hugs, whatever you're doing, right? Same thing, right? So if I'm Bob and I hear this, how do I answer it, right? Well, here's failure, and you got to get your minds around this, because if you can't get this, then I don't know, maybe there's no hope for you, quite frankly. Bob's going to say 9 out of 10 times, hey, Joe, you know what? I don't know anybody right now, but I'll keep you in mind, right? Or I'll think about it, right? Or I don't know anybody right now, which is possible, right? Which is more often than not likely. That's failure. If you can't accept that, I can't help you. Nobody can, right? That's failure. And you're going to hear that 9 out of 10 times. Second option, Bob says, I might know somebody at church, my league, at the course, at my club, at the office, wherever. Let me check with them, and I'll get back to you. Cool, right? So in your CRM, whether it's Redtail, Salesforce, whatever your firm uses, Act, whatever, you note in Bob's file, hey, Bob may know somebody. Next time I touch base with him, let me ask, right? Because what most of you do is say, oh, okay, great, and then you're off doing something else, and you totally forget about that. What would have happened to your career if every human being that ever promised you somebody, or I think I know somebody, or so-and-so is going to call you, right, if they actually did it? We wouldn't be having these conversations because you'd be retired, right? Track follow-up, right? Third possibility. Joe, it's funny you mentioned that. My colleague so-and-so over there, we were just talking over lunch, and they're getting ready to retire, and they, and they asked me if I knew anybody, and I didn't bring you up because, Quite frankly, I didn't know you were taking on new clients, which is, by the way, a big misconception most of you have that you're not even aware of because you're not messaging anything, right? That's it. A, B, C. 3 choices, right? You're not going to hear, well, how dare you? I can't believe you're asking me. It just doesn't happen. I mean, these are your clients. You know, there's rapport here. There's trust, right? It's not going to happen. So that's what you need to do, right? Just awareness. You do a client event. Make sure every client event you do, bring a guest, bring a guest, bring a guest. Most of them won't, but few will, right? And along those lines, let me also address this, because sort of a, kind of an urban legend myth here, I guess. A lot of us think that our best clients, the ones we serve the most, the ones that are happiest, the ones that will hug us, and do all those things and just absolutely appreciate what we do, will always be our biggest advocates. Will not happen, most cases. There are a lot of people that operate in what I call the bunker. They don't make recommendations. They don't make referrals. They don't want to share you. They don't want to share you because they're concerned that you're going to tell them about what you do with that person. All these kind of weird things out there, okay? So don't get upset when you sit there and say to yourself, man, I got this client. They're a great couple. They love us, da-da-da-da. And I've had them for 20 years, and I can't, they've never referred anybody to us. And you know what? They may never. They may never. Accept that. It's all about ratios, the law of large numbers, as I often like to call it, right? That's what it's really about when you get things said and done. There are 3 things that you need to get a name, an introduction. And by the way, referral introduction, same thing. I think some consultants walk around talking about introductions because the R word has been played out. Oh man, I don't want to talk about referral. That's like salesy, right? Same thing. So call it what you want. I don't care. But you need 3 things. Number 1, you, the advisor, you need to be super aware every day, that referral conversations, introduction conversations must be a daily game that we play. So in other words, it needs to go in your daily game plan. Not how many names you get, but how many times you open your mouth. My recommendation is 3 to 5 every day when you're grooving it. For most of you right now, my recommendation is once. Because once right now is 100% improvement over current scenario, which is 0. And just do it once, okay? Then do it for like a week, 1 time a day. Then do it twice a day next week, then 3 times a day, and then 4 times, and then 5 times. Take you a month to ramp it up, right? And pick the person you like, right? So you're having a great conversation. It's you're safe clients. They'll basically do anything you want them. If you ask them to do something, they'll do it. And we all have clients like that. Do the safe zone, right? Totally cool. And also remember that awareness and opening your mouth. It's going to sound like it's going to kind of be rough. And I say it respectfully, but hey, you're going to get knots in your stomach when it comes like, oh man, the review's almost over. Oh crap, here it comes. And you stutter, and it looks like you're having a mini convulsion, and all this jazz, right? I'm kind of say half funny, but you do all that stuff, right? Because it's just a new behavior. And I want you to think about anything physically you've ever done. If you change your training program, stretching program, running program, whatever you do, it's just uncomfortable. I mean, those of you who play golf, right? And I play golf, and you make a swing change, it feels like I got no idea what's going on here, right? But then it gets comfortable and you groove it. And that's what you need to remember. Fight through the uncomfortableness. It may take you a week or 2. I find between 10 and 20 conversations fixes most people because now we're grooved, okay? So you need that awareness daily, 3 to 5 times a day. Start with 1. Number 2, so you're super aware. The next thing we do, we condition our clients. We make them aware because right now, quite frankly, most of your clients have no idea that you're open for business. Most of your clients have no idea that you're here to help other people that they know because you never communicate it. It's assumptive, and that's very, very expensive in our industry. Very expensive. So you do not want to do that. Never be assumptive. Message. Okay? So now I make my clients aware by bringing it up on touch base calls, reviews. Hey, bring a guest to client events. Obviously, it's an agenda item on our reviews. Can I, twice a year, I send out a little capabilities late. Hey, by the way, just so you know what we do financial planning, asset management, insurance, da 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 da. By the way, if you run across somebody we can help, please feel free to give this flyer, sheet, brochure, whatever, to whoever you want, right? So you can do that, passive, no big deal. Could you put a little tagline in your email? Hey, your recommendations are welcome, or your referrals or your intros? Of course you can. Totally cool with that. No big deal, right? But again, passive. Will never take away the responsibility that you have to open your mouth and have that conversation. Let's be very clear. So you're now aware, you're messaging to your clients. Third thing, timing. Timing. We don't know who our clients are going to talk to. We don't know when there's going to be an interaction, a conversation, a question, a situation, scenario. So we can't control the third element, but I can control the first two. Conditioning, timing. That's it. That is the referral introduction formula. Condition, timing. Now, if you were to take my challenge, and here's what my challenge is. I gave you the verbiage. Keep us in mind if we can help somebody. I mean, we're not demanding. So you'll notice that it's always about awareness, never about demands. Never about, hey, do you know 2 or 3 people, or who do you know? Because those are yes, no's. It's uncomfortable. The premise here is we never want our client to feel like we're putting them on the spot to have to reject us. It's uncomfortable for them. It's uncomfortable for us. So we're never going to do that. Just don't, period, right? My challenge to you is quite frankly this. Over the next 12 months, 4 quarters, get up to 3 to 5 conversations per day. Touch base calls, review meetings, wherever, combinations, right? And just do it. And for the first 30, 60, 90 days, expect nothing. Other than, oh, okay, because the client's never heard this before, and you're still trying to figure it out yourself, right? So just be aware of that. But then once you kind of come back around a second time to them and a third time to them over time, they start realizing it's part of the conversation now, right? And what you're going to start noticing is clients will now be aware it's part of what we do, and a certain percentage of them will actually come to reviews with names. Hey, I spoke to my so-and-so, and they're expecting your call, right? And that becomes magical. Because now guess what we did? We've conditioned our clients with a heightened sense of awareness that we're here to help other people. And speaking of that is the premise. That is the positioning. And I don't mean positioning from a marketing standpoint. I mean you got to really believe that. Here's the offer, the way I view it. If you're nice enough to introduce me to somebody that you know, I am nice enough to either A, spend a chunk of time with them on the phone, or B, a chunk of time with them in my office. I will analyze their situation. I will make some recommendations. If they're a good fit for me and there's a possibility that I can help them and it's a win-win, we'll go through our process. If for whatever reason it's not a good fit, their needs are different, the economics don't work, and I'm not going to charge, it wouldn't be in their best interest, I will point them in the right direction. And maybe that direction is the local credit union. Maybe it's a discount broker. Maybe it's going to be my new robo-advisor, which I'm going to have in the next year or so, if not sooner than that, right? And we can kind of be a client but not be a client from an active standpoint. But they're going to be better off for speaking with me, meeting with me, than not. And that's all you ever want to promise your clients. I will leave them in a better place after that meeting than when they came in. Clarity and a bit of a path, right? That's it, because a lot of you will sit there and say to yourselves, well, I got to be careful about asking for referrals because, I don't want my clients to send me, people have no money or not good fits and all that jazz. Like, hey, they're not going to do your job. Your job is to qualify, not theirs. So don't, people have said to me, Joe, how do you educate your clients or how do you train your clients on, being very clear on the type of person that you want to be introduced to? And I say it's not their job. Let me introduce you. Do you care if 10 times a month you have 8 conversations that you can't help them or it's not a good fit or for whatever reason just not going to happen, but 2 do and they become clients? Are you willing to swap that ratio for me? Because that's what I'm asking for you, right? 12 months, 3 to 5 times a day, you'll source between 30 and 50 names in that 12 months. What are your ratios? You know them better than I do. If let's say half, I'll take 30. Half are not qualified. Economically, emotionally, whatever, right? 15. What's your closing ratio on 15 qualified, profitable referrals? 80%? 90%? Right? Most people in this industry that I work with, that I'm aware of, if they can get between 12 and 18 new profitable households a year, that makes their world go round and round. If you need more, great. Ask more. Be more, right? Just do it. Best thing. All right, so I truly believe, I'm trying not to overcomplicate this because it's not, doesn't need to be overcomplicated. That's how you do it. That's how my clients do it. That's how I educate them. That's how I coach them. That's how I train them. Quite frankly, that's how I kick them in the tail to do it because I know it works. And it's not a big deal. If you make it a big deal, it becomes like a big mountain of stuff you got to carry around. No big deal. No big deal. All right. Last thing before I let you go. We started this past week a Wednesday coaching live cast / session / whatever you want to call it. It's currently available to all Practice Power members. You can come in. I do a topic. It's a GoToMeeting. We do a topic, or GoToWebinar, excuse me. It's a topic. You can ask questions. You can submit questions. You can pick my brain. Totally cool about that. It's about an hour long every Wednesday at noon Eastern. All you have to do is make sure you're a member of Practice Power, and right now membership is free. So go on, head on over to practicepower.net and just join as a regular member. Now, if you want to be Elite Access, hey, we're happy with that too. But right now I'm not asking for any economics. Let me help you more. Let me add more value. Let me be a resource to you in your career. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those who are watching, have a great weekend, and I'll see you very, very soon.